Hi, Martin here. Someone on a canoe camping forum asked me how long it takes to boil a liter of water using our Trangia stove, which we use every time we go canoe camping. And he also wanted to know how much fuel would be consumed in the process. So I thought I would do a boil test. So what I've done is I've taken our Trangia burner here. I've filled it up with methyl hydrate or methylated spirits, which is a kind of alcohol that it burns. I filled it right up to the brim, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil it all off, and I'm going to time how long it takes to boil up each liter of water. I'm not exactly sure how many liters of water it will boil, one whole burner, and how long it will take, but that's what we're going to find out. So, just going to take this over to the stove, and we'll soon have our answer. See you in the kitchen. So this is 2 full liters of water at room temperature. I'm going to start by boiling these up one at a time. It's the reducing ring. I'm going to take that off. I'm not going to need that because it's a boil test. We want to see how fast we can boil up this alcohol, this water using the alcohol. So here's our burner with the screw-on lid. Won't need that either. Put the burner in place. Match. So our alcohol's at room temperature, our water's at room temperature. We're in a room at room temperature, of course. Whoops. Let's try that again. Okay. Burner's lit. Got a nice blue flame going crazy there. There we go, all the jets are now lit up, not just the center, but the jets, the little holes around the perimeter of those jets are burning now. So now, put on this windscreen, fill this pot up with water, 1 whole liter. Set it to boil. Put the big pot on the little pot, act as a lid, and we'll just see how long it takes. Alright, 7.5 minutes now. There's some very large bubbles in there. Too hot to touch, steam rising, but not a roiling boil yet. So one thing I should mention, if you hear a hum in the background, that's not the stove. The stove is virtually silent. What you're hearing is my refrigerator over here. Okay, just over 9 minutes now. Seconds away from a roiling boil. So it looks like it's going to take about 10 minutes actually at room temperature with room temperature alcohol and room temperature water to boil a whole liter of water. I was just talking about this with my wife. I was predicting that because this pot sits a little higher, that it will take a little longer than 11 minutes to boil. But she thinks that because the pot is wider and there's greater surface area and the water's consequently shallower in there, not sort of stacked quite so high as it is in a smaller pot, that it might actually boil faster. So we'll see which of us is right here. Uh-oh. We're almost at a roiling boil at only 8.5 minutes. That means my wife, wild treat, is going to win this bet. Okay. I'd say that's a roiling boil. And that's at 9 minutes 45 seconds. My wife was right. It was faster with the second liter. Alright, on to liter number 3. Fuel still burning here. Liter number 3 going in. So at this point, I'm not going to time things anymore. Just going to burn off the rest of the alcohol in that burner so we know how long, or rather how many liters we can boil with just that one burner of alcohol. Okay, that's 3 liters at a roiling boil. Let's put on our 4th liter. Alright, well, the well has run dry. It's hot. We are completely out of alcohol. So, we didn't quite complete 4 liters. We boiled 1, 2, 3 liters. First liter in just over 11 minutes, the second in about 9 minutes and 45 seconds. And that's because we use different size pots. We boiled the 3rd liter. 4th liter we didn't boil. It got hot, but not so hot you can't touch it. That's actually quite a lot of boiling for just a little bit of alcohol that's held in this container. And of course, if you were on a camping trip, you wouldn't just bring this, you'd bring a fuel bottle so that you could keep topping this up as needed. I should mention that this alcohol stove, like any alcohol stove or any stove, shouldn't be refilled when it's still hot. So if this were still hot and I ran out and I wanted to keep boiling, I'd have to let this cool before I started topping it up with more alcohol. Another thing to keep in mind is there's a rubber gasket in here in the screw-on lid that seals this shut. You want to make sure that this cools completely before you put this on, otherwise you risk melting this rubber gasket. This will have expanded with heat and it will contract, and if you want this to form a proper seal, make sure that it's completely cool before you put this on. There's another caution actually about the Trangia stove. I really love using the Trangia stove. I've used it for years. I've always been very, very happy with it. But there's one little thing that has always bothered me about it, and that is that because it's so quiet, and because the flame is a kind of pale blue, in bright daylight it's actually hard to see that it's actually lit. You might think that it's not lit, and you might come very, very close to the flame, thinking that it's out, reaching across it or something like that. If you have any questions, just post a comment. Bye.